There is a sense then in which when Jesus came into this world, for God so loved the world that he gave, one of the things Jesus did was he did something for us we could never, ever, ever do for ourselves. In regard to the civil laws, Jesus, now follow me, was becoming the new Israel within himself. In other words, he came to within himself and by himself represent the Israelites. In other words, okay, you body of people, you screwed up, you can't do it, you've messed up, but I love you so much that I'm going to come down there and do for you what you could never do for yourselves. Now let me show you some interesting stuff that sort of supports what I'm saying. You ready? All right, turn with me to Isaiah chapter 5. Once you find Isaiah chapter 5, put your finger there and turn to John chapter 15. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John chapter 15. I want to show you something interesting. And then in just a minute, I'm going to blow your mind. Isaiah chapter 5, beginning with verse 1. The prophet Isaiah is writing here, I will sing for the one I love a song about his. His is God. God's vineyard. My loved one had a vineyard on a fertile hillside. He dug it up and cleared it of stones and planted it with the choicest of vines. He built a watchtower in it and cut out a winepress as well. Then he looked for a crop of good grapes, but it yielded only bad fruit. Look at verse 4. What more could have been done for my vineyard than I have done for it? When I looked for good grapes, why did it yield only bad? Now look at verse 7. The clue is given and the mystery is solved. The vineyard of the Lord Almighty is the what? The house of Israel and the men of Judah are the garden of his delight. He looked for justice, but saw bloodshed. For righteousness, but he heard cries of distress. In other words, the picture is God planted Israel like a vineyard. He planted them. He nurtured them. He watered them. He fertilized them. He dug around them, made sure there were no weeds there. He did everything he could do. And so when they grew up and began to produce grapes, God went out into the vineyard one day and plucked one of the grapes and popped it into his mouth. And he said, it's rotten. What more could I have done? That was a picture of Israel. God did everything he could so that they would produce good fruit, but instead they were rotten. They blew it. John chapter 15. Jesus talking. Let's read that first verse together. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. Coincidence? Not at all. Not at all. In other words, I think when you put it together systematically, Israel blew it. Jesus stepped in and said, then I'll do it. I'll be the true vine. I'll be the vine for them, and I'll do for them what they could never do themselves. Now follow me. I'm building a case here. Let me show you something. Every time I see this is really interesting. Let me show you some more parallels that are more than coincidental. The children of Israel, when they went through the Red Sea, okay, when the waters parted, you've seen Cecil B. DeMille's Ten Commandments. I think they used jelly when they made that movie, I think. But anyway, so they went through the waters of the Red Sea. Now, don't turn to it, but jot it down. In 1 Corinthians chapter 10, Paul says when they went through the Red Sea, it's like they were baptized. They went through the waters. He uses a picture there that they were baptized as they went through the waters. Then after they went through the waters, how many years did they wander in the desert? 40 years. And by the way, while they were in the desert, were they victorious? And did they keep God's, did they trust God? Heavens, no. Oh, Moses, he got so exasperated with those people. And then once they finally did make it into the promised land, the first thing they did, as we shall see, is they divided up the land into 12 sections after the 12 tribes of Israel, named after the 12 sons of who? Jacob. Jacob's 12 sons. Jacob's name was later changed to what? Israel. Okay, all right. So they divided the land up. So, okay, of all the sons of Dan, you can have this section of the land. And Judah, all of your descendants can have this section of land. So all Israel was divided into tribes. Let me show you something interesting. Well, follow me very, very closely. Jesus was baptized when he was 30 years old. Who baptized him, by the way? John the Baptist. The Baptists want to say that John the Baptist was the first Baptist.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But he's not. Anyway. Now, what's really interesting is, right after Jesus was baptized, what's the next thing he did?
He spent 40 days out in the wilderness.
40 days in the desert.